magic of the Cybernet Space Cube, the computer-enhanced podcast of the future. Transformers Slag Podcast. What's up, everybody? How we all doing this Saturday night of the Transformers Slag Podcast Saturday Night live stream main event? I'm your host, Protoman. I'm the face that runs this place. I'm the voice you hear Monday to Friday, although last couple of days there hasn't been posts. I was very busy the past couple of days getting a whole bunch of stuff set up in the house and everything. We were doing some construction in the backyard, and let's just say I just did not have time. I just did not have time to do a podcast segment on Friday. And so I apologize for that if you were looking forward to something, but the day got really busy. And by the time everything was said and done to record and edit and upload, I was like, I got to shower. I got to go to sleep. I got work the next day. But how y'all doing? We're going to make it up with a quite a good Saturday today. We got a whole bunch of people here. Got some of our Patreon people and our YouTube members, Link CW. We got Michael Koo. We got Abraham. We got Tucker. We got Horned Owl, Will Murphy. Those are Mike Rosen's here. Everyone's popping in slowly. So we're going to cover some news. There wasn't a lot of news this week, but there was this and that that's worthy of discussion. We'll take some great super chats, of course, from you guys here later today. Didn't even pick up much this week. I only picked up one item, and you probably saw what that item was on my Insta and on my Twitter account. So one item I did pick up that I didn't show on my socials, but I will show you guys here today. Just a fun little promo item that was out back in the day. Otherwise, let's get into it. We'll cover some of the news, and then we'll take some super chats and just relax this Saturday night. It's been a good week for video games, anyhow. So maybe we'll get into that later today. But first thing we're going to cover is, of course, our Transformer Tuesday item drop that we got, which was Fortress Maximus. Now, I know a lot of people were not happy about it selling out, but there actually is quite a few big name toy websites that actually got a huge allocation for pre-order. So if you have not picked this up and you wanted to go through Hasbro Pulse, you do have other methods. There is other ways you could go about it. And go check out those websites. And you can pick them up for $199 too. I don't think all of them are being upsold too much. So go check it out. You will get a chance to get your Fort Max at $199. What I do suggest also, just for the heck of it, check out my individual segment about it, essentially, because I talk about the whole price history of this character. And it's something where even at $199, $200, our new MSRP that we have right now, I still think it's worth it, primarily because this is a character that it was $150 when he came out, and then it went on deep clearance twice. Twice it went on deep clearance, and then bounced right back to a $400 item in the secondary market afterwards. I don't know when they're going to do another Fort Max. Obviously, the whole reason why they did this was just to keep the trademark alive for its 2024 deadline. And then maybe they'll do something between 2025 and 2028. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm just saying, if you missed your chance, here's your next chance. Here's your warning. Here's your opportunity. If people are going to complain later on that they can't get one cheap, I don't know what to tell you at this point. Papa Proto tried to warn you multiple times, so I just hope that you guys get your chance to pick this up for 200 bones. I always liked it. I personally, I kind of like the Japanese version a little better, but I mean, at the end of the day, still pretty awesome. Japanese version goes for like $600 now, so that's a whole other conversation. But definitely pick it up. It's out there on other websites, just not Hasbro Pulse. When stuff sells out, unfortunately, stuff sells out. So that's going to be shipping out February 1st, 2024, a early Valentine's Day present to yourself, because yourself comes first, in my opinion. Another pre-order also went up on Hasbro Pulse and hasn't sold out yet. This was the other one that we talked about a couple weeks ago. the Air Razor versus Inferno 2-pack, Heaven and Hell 2-pack. We have a price now, $69.99. Pretty much what we predicted it was going to be. I predicted between $64.99 and $69.99. Again, leaning more on that 69 because it does, aside for other reasons, 69. Because it comes with the extra accessory. So they're probably just going to justify charging a little more with those extra accessories. But still a fantastic price when you factor in what a deluxe and a Voyager is in regular retail, plus taxes. So this is something where you're pretty much paying $5 more for an extra accessory and a slew of paint and a beautiful homage box too, which we haven't seen what it looks like, but based on the Optimus Primal and Megatron that we've already seen, is going to look pretty sexy. So this one too, $69.99. It's going to be shipping out May 24th, 2024. So quite a while from now. So you have some time to percolate on that one on top of it. You have plenty of time. You can do the pre-order now. And I mean, hopefully they won't charge you right away. Unfortunately, every other one of the BWVS stuff, 01 to 06, has been sold out on Hasbro Pulse. You'll have to use other resources to get those other versions. But for Inferno and Air Razor, here you go, yo. And Antagony has just started to ship out for people too. So it's something where, you got your Vanilla Inferno from Legacy, you got this one here, you got Antagony, you're gonna have a nice little Ant collection going on. So pretty cool stuff. Check it out, yo. What's up, Larry? Check it out, yo. Good everything there. And yeah, you have plenty of time until that one ships out. So good stuff. Also in the craziness of pre-orders, so this is something that it's fantastic good news, and it's always good to get good news with Transformers, but also something that probably needs a little bit of clarification despite it being these record-breaking good news. And it's that of the Transformers Skybound Image #1 comic book opening with over 153,000 orders before its October 4th release date. So this breaks a lot of records for Transformers, first of all. Up to that point, the best-selling Transformer comic book of all time, in even a record-breaking form. This goes all the way back to April 2022, 2002. And that was Dreamwave. That first issue of Dreamwave was a record breaker that had 119,000 pre-orders for issues #1 in both variant covers, as well as also counting towards it the variant foil cover and the incentive cover, which 25 issues had to be purchased to get that incentive cover. So there was only 4 different covers at the launch, and it made 119,000 pre-orders. Now, this is where the argument could then go, you know, is this, important? Well, #1, we don't know how this is going to stack up with all the other pre-orders of other comic books that will be debuting in that October, but this is something that could be a contender in, let's say, the top 3 selling book of the Diamond distribution, which could tell us that this might be the first time in 20 years that Transformers is #1 selling book, or at least a top 3 in the comic book world since the days of Dreamwave, which is fantastic news if that's true. But to be fair, and I'm just going to get into the technicality of it, the Dreamwave book, off the gate, you had a choice of 4 different covers to order off the gate, not counting second printings, third printings. Those come months afterwards and don't count towards this final number. Out of the gate, Dreamwave had 4 different covers. Those 2, Autobot Decepticon, foil, and incentive at 25. Image, on the other hand, BAM, is going to have 17 different covers for now. For now. There might even be more. 17 different covers on launch. 17. 17. Which is, I'm going to say, might add a little bit to how this broke some numbers. I look back to the days of Jim Lee and X-Men #1 in the 90s. It's the #1 selling comic book of all time. No one will ever have those numbers. Over 1 million comics sold in its pre-orders. But to be fair, it had 6 different covers on launch. And this was a 1991 peak speculator boom. So to me, this is kind of one of those situations. And no shade thrown at Jim Lee. I love that comic. I love those covers. It's iconic. Chris Claremont as the writer. Amazing stuff. But man, they didn't have 17 covers like this here. So, wow. 17 covers. So I have to say, I mean, even at half of this, if it's not 17 covers, even half of this is still more than what Dreamwave had for to covers. So let's go back to those numbers. 153,000 orders to Dreamwave's 4 covers of 119,000 orders. I don't know. I don't know. I'm happy for Image. I'm happy for them breaking these numbers. For their own company themselves, this is only beaten by The Walking Dead for these kind of numbers. So that's pretty great news for them that they're seeing this and it's bringing a lot of spotlight on them. But I also fear that you have a lot of really hardcore comic book collectors, you have a lot of speculators, and especially the speculators. And considering some of these covers you could only get if you ordered 25 issues, 100 issues. Yeah, I get a feeling the numbers are a little bit cooked here, just a little bit. And I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist and like look, I hope Image does an amazing job. I hope they do an amazing job. But man, I don't know. When I found out there were 17 covers and then I saw those numbers, and I know people who buy one of every cover, and then because they speculate on books, sometimes they buy 2 of like a cover A or something. And considering Void Rivals sold out almost instantly, and then people started speculating on that book. Void Rivals #1 sold out instantly, went into second print and then third print. And then that first cover ended up going for decent money in those first couple of weeks because people were speculating on it. I think it's probably the same thing going on here. You have the hardcore guys buying every cover and then buying a couple of other ones, and then to also get those 100s, they had it's a lot. It really is a lot. It really is a lot. This is a lot of covers. I mean, Dreamwave at its peak, when it did the second printings and the third printings of theirs, they did these Autobot Decepticon ones, they did a foil cover, they did the incentive cover, they did a wraparound cover, they did a second printing and a third printing, and that was it. And that was at the 19,000 mark. So wow. I don't know. I don't know. It's nuts. It's really nuts. So I just wanted to kind of just run that all by you guys because my goodness, that is a lot of covers. Like me, I'm picking up, cover A, cover B, maybe cover C if I could get my hands on it. And that basketball cover I'm probably gonna pick up too, you know, which that one's a mail order cover. You have to do it through a special mail listing thing. But the point is, yeah, like wow. So, you know what? It is what it is. The only other thing I could talk about too is in that article, if you look at the bottom there, so the bottom left is issue #1, one of the many variant covers. And the other covers there are issues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 issues planned out thus far for this. And then they'll see how it goes from there. Judging by these pre orders, it's pretty much a given they're going to keep going. But man, oh man, that's a lot of covers. That is a lot of covers. Issue 1 starts with 17. Even if issue 2 does half, that's still way too many covers. But unfortunately, how the comic book world survives today in the paper world is the completists, the whales, the ones who, if you do 20 different covers, they'll buy all 20 covers. And so you're able to make one comic book and just change the outer cover and make 20 sales to one individual, which sounds crazy when you think about it, but there's a lot of guys out there that do buy every single cover. So that's a little much, just a little, just a little. But hey Dreamwave, all the best to you. I hope we have some good stories to tell. I hope it's going to be fun, and I hope this all pays off. My goodness. And that's it more or less for the news. I mean, that's pretty much it. Michael Koo says here, there's a good chance all of these covers will be reprinted in collected trades. Oh, for sure. I mean, that's almost part that's almost par for the course in a lot of ways for how they're going to like then sell those trade paperbacks. I mean, they do that with a lot of stuff where when they do trades after a certain amount of time, one of the selling points is having a cover gallery, a virgin cover gallery, you know? So I'm pretty sure most of those covers will probably be in some kind of trade collection. Um, maybe not everyone. I mean, when you think about it, right? Think about it this way, right? If they had all 17 covers just for issue number 1 and a trade is going to probably have issues 1 to 6, let's say, man, they're going to have to dedicate 50% of that trade paperback just to covers. Cuz 17 for issue 1 and then issue 2, let's say it's half that. Then you add another like what? 8 to 9, 8.5 to 9 issues right there, of then. And then how much is issue 3? Is it going to get a second print, a third print? So how many covers with that one? So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they'll put some of the covers. I don't know if they'll be able to put all. That'll be pretty crazy. That'll be pretty crazy. So, yeah, that's it more or less for the news. We'll start with some super chats. I'll show what I got this week. Just very small stuff, nothing too major. Just some stuff that I kind of picked up last week that I didn't really talk about because it was upstairs and just kind of forgot about it because I was cleaning and everything. We'll do some sponsorship stuff, and then we'll just take some super chats and enjoy the rest of the evening with y'all. And first thing, of course, we're going to cover is Symbiote Studios. But oh no, wait, we have one more piece of news. Oh, we do have one more piece of news. How could I forget? We got this one, Hasbro Pulse. We have the Hasbro Pulse news. I totally forgot about that. So yeah, Hasbro Pulse did a press release. I totally forgot about this. Shows how busy I was the past 2 days when all this news was dropping. Um, so Hasbro Pulse dropped some news about what is going to be talked about during the Hasbro Pulse Con on September 22nd, which is going to be next Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. One of the things they do mention is they're going to be showing off some brand new product for the next iteration, the next chapter of Transformers Legacy. So we're going to finally find out what that uni stands for. That's the most important thing. So it's going to be Transformers Legacy Unicron, Universe, United, Unicorn. We don't know, but we're going to find out next week. We're also going to find out who is the human induction to the Hall of Fame, which they claim is a quite legendary human. Take your guess what that might be. And then also on top of that are 2 new winners of the Hall of Fame of the bot form. So we're going to find out who won the bot vote. So we're going to see who wins that one and who will be made into a brand new toy in the short future, as well as the winner of the toy of the year, which to me, I still feel is sometimes a little early, but they got to do this early also. So we will see. We will see. And also, there's going to be special guests. There's going to be some celebrity guests too that are supposedly going to be showing up, and potentially also maybe a little bit of maybe a little Hasbro Pulse reveal. Maybe we will see. Unicycle. Transformers Unicycle. Everything is unicycles. Everything. One wheel action. And of course, also the Hasbro Pulse Con exclusive will be that Power Links Deluxe Class Hotshot with Jolt. So stay tuned for that. That will also go live on the Friday. Big ticket item with that little background Armada thrust on the box there, which might be teasing at something else too. We will see. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff going on. There's going to be a lot to reveal that weekend. That Friday, I'm going to be so busy. I'm going to do so many. Like, there's going to be like 4 or 5 segments that day, probably. Probably that. We will see. We will see. But great stuff otherwise. So let's jump into our sponsorship stuff. That's the box. Man, I got all my slides messed up today. Symbiote Studios, symbiotestudios.com, plush pins and t-shirts. as always, I'm rocking one today. I'm rocking a Catnip Bravo with some Flesh Eater love. So, Symbiote Studios, and of course the Optimus Prime pin. Plush pins and t-shirts. We got the new Primal. We got the new Slag plush. Emphasis on the Slag, Transformer Slag plush. Beryllium Baloney. The Power Ranger plush. Got to get your Power Ranger action. The brand new Ultra Magnus that we just revealed a couple weeks ago. That's going to be coming out as a 2024 product. The first of the 2024 lineup with many more to come, so stay tuned. And of course, everything else, if it isn't sold out already, go check it out, symbiotestudios.com, for all your plush pins and t-shirts of Transformers and the robots in the skies. And like I already say, thank you, Symbiote Studios, for sponsoring us and being a bunch of cool dudes, as well as And Deceits, rocking the Optimus Prime And Deceit. Check that out, yo, too. Again, promo code PROTOMAN. Get 15% off your order of And Deceits before they sell out. And, of course, the latest episode of Toy Armada with Aaron Archer. Go check that out. We have a brand new segment coming up very soon. Hopefully, we can get it done, recorded, edited, and uploaded before TFCon in Orlando. We're going to try it. We're going to aim for that. We're going to aim for it. Might airball it, but we'll see. We will see. And of course, if you want to support Mr. Archer himself, he has his latest art book, The Art of Transforming Robots, Volume 2 Color Edition. Good stuff, $20. Gets you that beautiful 36 page full color art book of everything from that era of Transformers, as well as the really good stuff of if you put a little more, put extra $15, you'll get a custom sketch of whatever you want put in there, as well as if you want to talk about more stuff. So Aaron has been doing these instructions on original, so these paintings on original Transformer instructions from his era, and they have been selling out like crazy. We can't put them up fast enough for them to sell out. As of this live stream, there was only one left, and it's Alternators Rodimus. That's all that's left of the 40 plus that were up. It might be gone now as we speak. I don't know. Might be sold already, but that was the last I checked. There will be more coming, hopefully, in the near future. But as it stands right now, there is only one left of everything, of all the craziness that has been going on. So we apologize if there isn't any to purchase right now. There is only one as of this live stream, although this one might be sold too. You might have to check. But more will come in the near future, so stay tuned for that. And that's it, more or less. Michael Koo says, Symbiote Studios has their Optimus Prime Freedom t-shirt on sale. Yeah. The Freedom is the Rights of All Sentient Being t-shirt is on sale on the website. Go pick them up. Good high quality shirts. What I like about their shirts, and I find this, I have this problem a lot of times where, like, whenever I go to Walmart, just for fun, I'll always pass by the t-shirt section because you never know. You might see some cool, like, wrestling shirt throwback NWO, or really good, like, Denny O'Neil Batman shirt or something. Like, you'll see some, like, old school, like, Jim Lee X-Men. I always check it out. But the one thing that stops me from buying a lot of these shirts is, like, I'll feel it. It feels like it's just a print, and I feel like I'm gonna wash it once and that's it. This is in the fabric. It doesn't, like, I've washed these shirts tons of times. You guys, look, anyone who's been watching the live streams over the past couple of years, I wear these shirts in rotation. They get washed every single time, and they look as good as the day I bought them. So they're great quality shirts. Love them. Amazing stuff. And I hope they make more. Make more, guys. I want more. I want more of your t-shirts. They're good. They're good stuff. Good stuff. But anyways, guys, so we're going to talk about what we got. We'll take some super chats from you guys. So throw in some super chats while I arrange everything that I got. So on Instagram, some people might have saw what I showed. I picked up Springload. He was one of the more obscure Transformers Robots in Disguise figures. Unfortunately, his best figure is a one step, unfortunately, but he transformed into a froggish kind of car bot. Uh, Again, Robots in Disguise 2015 was kind of a meh series, but I really loved their designs for the toys because a lot of them were really unique. There was a lot of really unique trademarks and Decepticons. There's he was spring load and he was spring loaded, so had to do that little photography over the past couple of days. Great stuff. Aaron here? Did Aaron jump in? I don't know. I didn't see Aaron come in yet. I didn't see Aaron come in yet. Is he here? Okay. um, but yeah, so I picked that up. That was really cool. I was waiting. I was trying to find a good condition one because a lot of them, unfortunately, a lot of them when you pick up spring load, usually these are pretty loose because it's part of the transformation. And I didn't know that because when I was going to cons trying to find one on the cheap, every time I found one, these were loose, and then I didn't realize until years later that oh, they're kind of supposed to be loose. So finally picked one up. Happy with that. And also, finally got to pick this up. This was a promo item that I've been trying to track down for a while now. And I got one, I want to say back in 2015. And it was going for such stupid money when it first came out. No, it was even before 2015. I want to say like maybe even 2010. uh when this was a promo item that Toys R Us back in 2010 did, which was a Transformers transforming pen. And you got it if you bought like I think over $30 a Transformer product. And I got one for free because I bought over $30 of product. And then for whatever reason, I sold it because people were asking like $100 for this stupid thing. And I was like, they're willing to give $100 for it. So I put it on eBay and I enjoyed the $100. Years later, now I'm going like, man, I really wish I still had that pen. And well, so here it is. So this was it's pretty cool. It's pretty smooth how they do that. Transforming pen, little pen there. I just really dig it. Yeah, I'll show you one more time. So it's just Transformers, Autobots, Decepticon logo, and you push this button and eh, there you go. Very smooth. So people were paying over $100 back in 2010 for this stupid pen because it was a promo item. And 2009, 2010 was like peak Transformers in terms of completists and collectors and people being into the hobby. And me looking at eBay and going, wait a minute, people are paying $95, $105, $107 for this stupid pen. Okay. And I just put mine up and got rid of it. I don't think I got $100 though. I think I got like maybe 80 because I was Canadian and oh, it's shipping from Canada. Um, it's the most dramatic pen I know in Ninjatron. I know it's like, oh wow, it transforms. A transforming pen. I know. It was such a silly promo item that Toys R Us did. It was available in Canada and the US, and for some reason people really wanted it. So I got rid of mine because I'd rather have the money. And then years later, I'm going like, huh, I wonder if that pen is still around. And then I look on eBay and people are selling it for like $5, $10. Some people were selling it like asking buy it now for 20. And I managed to get one a few weeks ago, and it finally came on Friday. So it's like, oh yay, that silly pen. And it came with the box too, which is like a nondescript Toys R Us, like little white box with a sticker on it. But yeah, so like just those are the only two things I really got this week, not much else. I got some basketball related stuff, but that's nothing too major. It'd be cool if they did something like this again. I mean, see what's interesting about it too, like here, this is like this here, it's like a weird like kind of slider piece, which I don't think it does anything, but I don't know. I like how it smoothly opens up like that. That's kind of cool. But so yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got, guys. It's $10 USD right now. There you go. I bought it for I think I bought it off of eBay. I want to say a month ago because I think I bought it a month ago, and I think I paid $5 or $7 or something USD. So Canadian, I don't know. Let's say like $14 Canadian, whatever. Considering all I had to pay was $30 of Transformer toys, and probably at that time gosh, it was 2010. I was probably buying like Hunt for the Decepticons or Reveal the Shield stuff at the time and getting that pen. Such a silly little thing. Such a silly, silly little thing. Anyways, let's open it up to super chats and we'll just enjoy the rest of the day. That's how it is. Let me just scroll up a little bit. Uh, Wizards for X just got a shattered glass sound wave. I'm going to learn to paint them. You're going to paint them. Oh, yeah, we want to do them in different colors? With the super chats. We got to jump into the super chats here. Michael Koo says, Hot Rodimus is still available. Okay, there you go. So let me just pull up that slide. So as of this live stream at the moment, Hot Rodimus is still available. It's the only one still available. Mike Rosen got Twin Cast yesterday at Target. Funny story, actually. I was just literally dusting some Transformers, and I was dusting vintage Twin Cast recently. I was just dusting him too. I was doing a bunch because I recently, because I built some new displays and everything, so I was kind of shifting things around in the collection to make things look nice and more organized in order, because I'm a little OCD with that. I like, certain lines next to each other. And so I was moving some stuff, and then I started dusting a few things, because even though these are in glass cases, usually like how it works is like when these are in glass cases, they're probably dust free for about a good 5 to 7 years, and then dust slowly starts to like make its way in there. But then if you like air can it, you could kind of break it up a little bit. And I don't leave it on now when we're doing our recordings and stuff and everything, but I also have an air purifier in the room, um, which is pretty loud usually. So, but I keep that too, and it kind of sucks up the dust and goes into the filter. I do my best to try to kind of keep this all clean and good. Giants Bleed with the YouTube member question with the green names says, should I get Power of the Primes Optimus Prime, or do you think they will revisit the character soon? I think Optimal Optimus will get revisited, but if he does get revisited, you know it and I know it's going to be a commander class. And when Power of the Primes existed, commander class was not a thing yet. I'm pretty sure if commander class was a thing back then, they would have probably put one of those characters like an Optimal Optimus into that category. I think they will do it one day again, but I don't think I like, the reality is Power of the Primes Optimus Prime. The first thing that goes against it is it's smaller than even the original Optimal Optimus, which already is like a knock against it right there. I dig the gimmick, the coming out, like, like here over there, I got from Mikey and Louie the SDCC version, which I like with the crown and everything. It's a fun figure. I like the matrix in the chest and all of that, but I still think the original kind of edges it out because it's got to be a big beefy bot. And that's unfortunately, it's a leader of its current era, which are smaller leader classes, where you have that super class, I think is what they called it at the time. I think they call it a super class of what Primal was for the Optimal. I think we will get another one in the future. I don't know when, but he will be a commander class. Like, that's a given. They'll do something where they'll build around it. Who knows? He could be the commander class of our coming Transformer uni. Who knows what they'll want to do? But something big and bombastic, because there's only like, the good thing with a character like that is there's only so many large characters. There's only so many characters that make sense for a commander class for a big price point like that. It has to be big characters with trailers or combiner teams or city bots or big boys, and Primal falls into that. And that's a select club of dudes. So we'll see. We will see. We got a super chat we'll get to in a moment. Thank you for the super chat. T Formers 2002 Alt Rodimus is indeed the only one left in stock. Yep. Everything sold out today. It was pretty crazy. No matter the cost. Black Crow Vengeance #1. Other reasons why I hate the Bay movies. Cliffjumper died. Well, Cliffjumper didn't die in a Bay movie. He died in a he actually died in the comic book version by IDW, and then they killed him in the Travis Knight movie, which is the Bumblebee movie. So I wouldn't call it a Bay movie. Bumblebee died. I don't know if Bumblebee dies all the time in that stuff. Air Razor, Ape Link, Stratosphere, only flying and Audubon screen. That doesn't count as a Bay movie because Stratosphere uh would be also technically a Travis Knight, not Travis Knight, a what's his name character from Rocky. But yeah, they're the live action movie verse. I think would be the better term. I wouldn't call it the Bay movies because not all of those are Michael Bay anymore. So yeah. We got a super chat from Mark Morales. Thank you again, Mark, for the super chat for 5 bones. And Mark says, I bought Fortress Maximus secondhand off of eBay years ago. I'm frustrated that they didn't have all the parts and a restock comes in due as an expiring trademark. Yeah, but that's a reality though. I keep telling you guys, like, you got to pay attention to trademarks. You got to pay attention, especially with those big characters. Like, it's something that now that we have like a Minerva trademark or like Metal Hawk, stay tuned. We're going to get another Metal Hawk in 4 years. We're going to get another Minerva in 4 years, as long as they want to keep those. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, but you got to pay attention to those trademarks. And, go back and watch my Fortress Maximus segment. Go back and watch it, the history, the way the trademark worked, why this even happened, all that silliness. Go check that out and it'll make sense. But I feel for you guys that bought it full price. Like me, I'm so hesitant with Titan classes because literally from day one, they've always been going on sale. I literally I have a tweet somewhere in the bowels of my Twitter account. There's a tweeted photo from me from Costco, and it's like I don't know how much it was, but it was Metroplex Titan class, and it was like I think it was like 79.99 Canadian, which is like what is it, like $60 American today or something, 59 American, and I paid full price, 100% full price for the San Diego Comic-Con Metroplex. When it first launched, that big crazy box, there's this great photo of me at TFCon hugging it. Jaws D took that photo. Or Josh Perez. I forget who, I think it was Josh Perez or Jaws D, but you know, and I paid big money for that. I think I paid like 250 Canadian, for that. And I was so happy to get it because I'm like, oh my God, the biggest transformer ever. And it's in this huge box. And then after I got it, then I was like, oh, there's no need for me to buy the retail version. I have this one. And then I saw it in Costco, significantly less than what it was in retail. And I'm like, oh my goodness, is this going to be a thing because he's too big for retail? And then afterwards, what did we get? We got Combiner Wars. And what happened with that boy? Same story. Devastator went on clearance. And then we got Fortress Maximus. Go check out my segment. Double deep clearance. And then I'm looking over, and then who was that afterwards? Oh, Triptychon. Everyone remembers the Triptychon Ollie story going for, what was it, $15? $15 for Triptychon? And I could go on and on. I could go on and on. Look, we just had Black Zarek go on sale. We had the Ark go on sale. We had Metroplex, Cybertron Metroplex go on sale. So, we're just waiting now for the Nemesis to go on sale. And it's going to happen, especially at $199. So, we are in this kind of situation where people usually wait for these Titan classes to go on sale. And I was in that same kind of situation, but I was lucky back then. I was lucky because those sales did happen and I jumped on them then. But we will see. We will see. Again, I feel for you. A lot of people now, it's because of the secondary market. That's always how it is. When it comes out brand new, people buy it at MSRP, then it takes a dive, then it creeps back up, and then it goes one of two ways. If it's a character that doesn't have a better figural representation, then it keeps going up. If it's just one of many versions of that character, it kind of actually steeps a bit. So we will see. We will see. Yeah, T-Formers 2002. Like, man, Ollies back then. You could probably check on, like, do a search on Twitter, type like Ollie's Triptychon, and I'm pretty sure there was tons of people who were finding those back in the day. I remember there was one guy at TFCon. I want to say it was Brett. Brett, if I'm wrong, I apologize. But I think it was Brett had like a stack of them. He went to Ollie's and he just bought a ton of them. And then I think he was selling them at 50 a piece because he got them for 15 a piece. I think he was asking 50, but either way, craziness. Craziness. Remember, he had a tower of them. Uh, Mike Rosen with the YouTube member question. HasLab reveal at PulseCon? We will see, Mike. We will see. We will see. With a celebrity, perhaps. Collector Prime with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Collector Prime, for the super chat. Hi there, Proto. Do you think we will get a G2 Menasor set like Hasbro released for the G1 in Legacy? Well, from what it looks like right now, that I need to see them first if have the guts to do a Commander class repaint. That's the big thing, because the only Commander class repaint we've had thus far has been our Shattered Glass Jetfire. To do a G2 Menasor, they're going to have to do a Commander class repaint of Motormaster in G2 colors, which means he'll be the second ever Commander class, because they did nothing with Skylinks, they did nothing with Rodimus yet. I would believe they would do something, but they've done nothing with Rodimus yet. It's still too early to kind of do anything with Optimus from Armada, but so far only Jetfire was the one they kind of had legs with to do something. So we'll see. If they do a box set, that would be kind of backwards, because they've been releasing the individual ones. And then for them to do a box set, people who bought the individual ones might feel slighted. They'd be like, great, now I have to rebuy everything with this box set. So it's something where I feel they'll probably more do a Motormaster individually. And that's assuming they're going to do it a Motormaster individually. Because, again, they have a weird track record with repainting their Commander classes. If they, honestly, a part of me feels they'll do Motormaster G2. It'll be an individual release, and it'll be a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. That way they don't have to tie it up with US retail, or doing a store exclusive where, a Walmart's going to dedicate themselves to having that kind of Commander class product as an exclusive. So we will see. We will see. Still a lot to chew on that, in all honesty. A lot to go. Where are we at here? Wizards for X going to be seeing Big Sis go for 186 after. Oh, you're probably talking about the Nemesis. We'll see. Wizards for X said he got Black Zarek for 80. Black Zarek took a huge dive, which is a shame because that's a fantastic figure. Prince and Phalanx 59. The Nemesis was on sale earlier on Amazon for 150, but that price is gone now. I'm sure it'll probably hit one more. Right when we're really leaving Legacy Evolution, and we're going to be going into the new era with whatever uni is, I'm pretty sure we'll see another sale. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see something even on Ollie's at some point. Michael Koo, Hasbro typically doesn't like to have two HasLabs running at the same time. Hasbro will probably let the HasLab Giant Man finish first. We'll see. We've seen a few that run side by side. I know that they did the board game one with Star Saber, if I remember correctly, at the same time. What was it called, that board game? I forget what that board game was called. It got backed very quickly, though. Black Crow Vengeance #1. Will there ever be a Transformers cartoon or video game where Starscream and the Decepticon Seekers join the Autobots in a line? Well, not a video game. Doubt that, unless it's some kind of RTS where you can make your own teams or something. But I doubt a video game. I doubt that. Starscream's always been one of those characters that, outside of the Armada version, making him an Autobot or a good guy has really been something they've. Starscream being a good guy in Armada was almost part of the Aaron Archer era, and them not fully understanding the legacy characters, just kind of bringing them back, but trying to do something different. Where today they're so scared to change the status quo that I doubt they would do that. It's kind of tough to say. Tucker, I have a question though. I do make myself a tuna melt or fried bologna sandwich for dinner. Fried bologna is ridiculously unhealthy and filled with tons of sodium nitrates. By frying it, you're not doing yourself some good. Tuna is slightly better, although a lot of mercury in that, and the melt implies you're putting some processed cheese on that. But I'd probably go with the tuna melt, because at least it's fish, and fish at least has a lot of minerals that are good for brain activity. Bologna is some of the worst stuff you could put in your body, unfortunately. Tastes great. Don't get me wrong. Tastes great. but it'll kill you. Kaz with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Kaz, for the $5 super chat, brother. Nice to see you again. Good evening, Proto. In your opinion, what are the best G1 gestalts? Are we okay? So I was about to say, are we counting Japan? Because now I just saw your Lio Kaiser. For you, it's Lio Kaiser, Abominus, and Predaking. Predacon is also an honorable mention. For me, my number one has always been Road Caesar from Victory. There's just something about that I love. I don't know. It's three race cars, the Brainmaster gimmick. The design is kind of cool. Each individual member of the team really had their own personality and was kind of their own individual person, which is very rare for combiner teams. I mean, look, Constructicons are like legendary in comparison to everyone else, but it's something where tell me the individual personalities of those guys. You can't, which is kind of a shame. Another one that I always like to mention, and it was because maybe it's a little bit because it was also my first combiner team I ever owned, but years later realizing other reasons it's a really good one. I love Defensor. Defensor, the Protectobots. Primarily, also another good thing about them is the diversity of the alt modes. Aerial bots are all jets. Yeah, they're different kinds of jets, but they're still all jets at the end of the day. They're all flying vehicles. Constructicons are all the same colored construction vehicles. Stunticons, and I love cars, but it's like it's cars in a truck. Sure, one's a Formula One, two of them are more European. Actually, three of them are European in origin. So there's not a lot of diversity there. Yeah, colors are diverse, but there's not a lot of diversity in terms of design. uh Combaticons, yeah, there's a little bit more diversity there because you got some cool things going, but they're kind of bland in their overall color spectrum. So because like you look at Onslaught, it's a different kind of rolling tank as opposed to Brawl's tank. And then you got Swindle as a Jeep, so at least it's a little different there. And Vortex, which is a helicopter, so at least that's different. And then you got, Blast Off, so you got a space shuttle, so that's kind of different. So there's a good mix there. But I just love that you get a fire truck with Defensor, you get a fire truck. So that's pretty cool. It's a very Optimus Prime kind of looking fire truck. You get, an ambulance. You get a motorcycle, which was pretty rare at the time to get any kind of motorcycles in Transformers. So, Groove being a motorcycle was a big deal compared to like all the other lack of motorcycles at that time until someone like, let's say, Wreck-Ar came around. And then later on, the lineage of motorcycles from that. A police car. It's nice to get another police car with Streetwise. And I could go on and on. Did I mention Blades, the helicopter, First Aid, the ambulance, Groove with the motorcycle, Streetwise the police car, and Hotspot for the fire truck. And then Hotspot had kind of like a base repair bay mode, which was pretty cool. There's so much going for it. I love that team. They're so cool that I'm pretty sure Takara realized it too, because when they did Operation Combination all those years later, the final G1 story, they kind of made Guard City, which was an extensive repaint of Defensor, like the leader focused team because there was such a good mix there. You know, I dig it. I dig it. So I go with Defensor, go with Road Caesar. What's another good one? Um, I love JRX. I love Build King. Those RID guys are really good. Love those. Those are really good too. I mean, they're all great. Stunticons are fun too. It's just, I wish there was more diversity with the alt modes. Hope that kind of answers that one. Give you a good answer there, Kaz. Mike Rosen with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Mike. Again, if there was an A-Team crossover, would you want it for Transformers or G.I. Joe? Well, I think that really depends on the visual. If you're doing A-Team crossover G.I. Joe, you're talking Mr. T getting a figurine. The other members, I don't think they would get figurines, really. They're not as interesting characters from the A-Team. Um, B.A. Baracus is a G.I. Joe character in itself. If you do it for Transformers, it's the A-Team van, which will probably have a mohawk or something and some gold chains in the robot mode. But yeah, I think it works better for GI Joe again from a human standpoint, robot standpoint. I mean, me personally, I think if they have to do another crossover, it's got to be Kit. You got to do Knight Rider. I don't know why they haven't done Knight Rider yet. Probably a licensing reason. Mostly because I think Playmobil has the Knight Rider license or something right now. They're doing a Knight Rider item. I could be wrong with that. Something like that. But thank you for the super chat. And I'm pretty sure B.A. Baracus would make a good Joe member. What would it be his accessories, though? Would he have like a gold chain weapon? You know, he'd have a whole bunch of gold plastic syndrome on a sprue of the old Joe's accessories. Something like that. Pity the fool, Cobra. Lizard Sphere X, Joe can have that one. Like Lizard Sphere X wants it says Joe can have it. There you go. T Formers 2002. My best Titan deal so far was Legacy Metroplex for 95. Not bad. Not bad. Again, I know he hit deep discounts too at one point, which is
Megatron
pretty
must
crazy
be
when you think
stopped,
about it.
no matter
A
the
lot of
cost.
crazy deep discounts with those guys. I know I'm missing out on some stuff there for sure, but there was a lot of them. We got a few conversations. Nicholas Barr with the $2 super chat. How you doing, Nicholas? Michael Dobson was always my favorite screamer. I have a funny story with meeting Michael Dobson. I don't know if I ever told it on the podcast. I don't remember. So I went to Anime North, which is North America's largest anime convention in the world. Um, Huge anime conventions. Insane how big Anime North is. And what I always do when I go to those shows, because especially during that era, I want to say I went in 2008, 2009. You could probably check when Michael Dobson was there and you'll figure out the year I was there. I went and what I always do with these anime shows, especially during that era, I'd always check, hey, is there any Unicron trilogy guys there? Because a lot of those guys, you know, they did anime stuff and they did Unicron trilogy, so I could get some autographs. And Michael Dobson was there. So I was like, oh man, I got to get, you know, Starscream's voice actor. So I got his autograph because I loved him in Armada. I thought he did a great job. And when I was getting the autograph, I was telling him, you know, and there's this line behind me, there's a whole bunch of people behind me to get his autograph. And I told him, you know what, I really loved how you did Starscream. And then when you did the G.I. Joe TV series stuff, specifically the G.I. Joe versus Cobra, Venom versus Valor, they got you to do Cobra Commander. So you were doing this like Chris Latta parallel. And then the second I like finished that sentence, that Chris Latta parallel, he bursted into a Cobra Commander rant. And I didn't expect, I was like, oh, damn. And he's like, ah, yes, Cobra Commander. I wanna. And then like everyone was staring, you know, because he didn't like do any voices for anyone else, at least to my knowledge up to that point. And and I was just like, I was like, oh, okay. Nice meeting you, sir. You know, like I was like, okay, you know, like I just kind of like to get the autograph, give my praise, you know, and not make it weird. And he made it weird for me. I still think it was really cool of him to do that. Still really cool. The Dobsons are a cool bunch of dudes. I think his brother was there too. Yeah, Dylan Ninjatron, you were probably at that Anime North also. It was when they were like when we were still doing the TF cons at the DoubleTree, so it would have been across the street. So you probably were there too. I think it was 2008. I want to say 2008 or 2009, maybe 2007. I just know it was around that bubble. I remember it was around that time. Because if I remember correctly, TFCon had a table there too with Alex Milne. It's this all kind of merges together, unfortunately, in my brain. But anyways, I always thought he was cool. Very nice dude, very friendly, free autographs. Always love that. Great guy. Good Michael Dobson. All the Dobson brothers, all talented dudes. Patrick Brown. Where might I stumble upon rumored discussions of a HasLab? I can't seem to find a discussion location. You just gotta look message boards, but I warn you, they're a wretched hive of scum and villainy sometimes. So you gotta be careful where you go with those message boards. So there's people talking. Instagram, Twitter, it's all over the place. You find it where you look for it. Abraham with the YouTube member question. Swindle stands out the most with the Combaticons personally. Well, he's definitely would be the smallest. If you had to talk about like size scale, there's this really good image online. It was a piece of fan art where someone showed how would Bruticus look if each of his limbs were to scale. and it was like a small Swindle arm and like a gigantic blast off arm, and then like a small like foot for Vortec, and then a small a slightly larger tank for Brawl. But yeah, Swindle stands out the most. I always felt in terms of character, because again, it's like, you know, Brawl, Vortex, Blastoff, Onslaught. Tell me about their character. Swindle really was the breakaway character, and it really makes sense why to Derek Wyatt, rest in peace, Derek, but to Derek Wyatt, why that was his favorite character overall. His favorite character overall was a character that stuck out where, man, like same thing, aerial bots. Who's your favorite aerial bot and tell me why? Outside of maybe Silverbolt being afraid of heights. Like tell me their personality. Say look, even like Defensor that I love and the protective bots. Like if you saw any scenes with first aid, it literally is just Michael Bell doing Michael Bell like he always does Michael Bell, which is prowl, which is smoke side swipe, like just it's just another Michael Bell voice that sounds a lot like Michael Bell that they kind of synthesized a little bit just to make it sound a little different, but it's still Michael Bell. So you have sometimes those characters that really don't have personality. It's a common G1 problem, but it really is exacerbated when you talk about the combiner limbs, unfortunately. Even stuff like when you get into Beast Wars, and when you get into Beast Wars Second, where you had the Tripredacus and Magnaboss, at least those characters had individual personalities. Mind you, they were 3 units instead of 5, so it was easier to kind of focus on them. But you know, the Marachi band. T-Formers 2002. Yup, Ollie's, as far as I know, is only in store. Yeah, Ollie's doesn't do online. Ollie's is a discount location located specifically in the North and Northeast United States. I believe there's one or two locations in the rest of the United States, but it really is a North and Northeastern kind of chain. I'm lucky because there's an Ollie. Like I live in Montreal. The border to the United States is like 30 minutes away from my door. So I could literally wake up in the morning, cross the border early, and there's an Ollie's in Plattsburgh, New York, where I hit up and I check out all the time. And a lot of times they don't have Transformer stuff that I need, but they'll sometimes have other stuff. I remember one year they had those muscle street sharks. They get like weird stuff. They get weird dead stock all the time. So it's always worth it to check them out. If you get a chance, you never know. And if you're part of the Transformer Slag podcast Discord, which is if you join our Patreon, you'll be part of our Discord. We have a section in our Discord where we post sales all the time. And just this week, we posted the latest sales from Ollie's from Proto Man's camera. So, just saying, if you want to know about the sales, save money on your hobby. Ron Diaz, yo, shout out from Miami, Florida. What's up, Ron Diaz? Are you going to be at TFCon? You going to be at TFCon Orlando? Let me know. You're going to be at TFCon Orlando if you're in Miami, Florida. Prince of Phalanx 59. When do you think Hasbro will do another combiner? Oh, I think very soon, actually. I think that the DNA is already there if you kind of look at some of the molds that have been coming out. Orlando Chavez with a YouTube member question. What are some of your favorite Transformer figures in terms of playability? Oh, I love the Armada stuff. When that like, I mean, when you're talking like, Proto Man as a kid, I was playing with a lot of Micromasters back in the day. I loved my Micromasters. I thought they were really cool, but I also liked Micro Machines. Everyone always has that quote there. Oh, my uncle worked for, X toy company. My uncle, legit, my uncle, shout out to my uncle Jaime. My uncle legit worked for the shipping company of Galoob, which was located in Montreal. And it was Galoob and Body L, Buddy L. What was the toy company? Body L. And at the time, early Toy Biz was in Montreal, and then they moved it. So stuff would come through all the time, and so I had a ton of Micro Machine stuff as a kid because of him. And as of course, because I loved Micro Machines, I also loved Micro Masters. It was just natural progression of that. But I also loved Armada stuff. Playability on Armada stuff was really cool. people could rag on, including Aaron Archer himself, like, could rag on Smokescreen, but Smokescreen kind of was a fun little figure. When you take the time to really look at that Smokescreen figure with his little mini con, he has the flip out cannon, he has the little opening hatch, he has like little things. They're almost kind of like their own little play sets and bases in themselves. Like someone like Hot Shot, all those little playability elements, the opening bumper that makes the little catchers, the removable, hot rodded engine that could become a gun, and then you have like the back piece that you could make with Jolt 2 where it could be a spinning propeller. If you have a lot of creativity, there's so much fun that you could have with those individual characters. So those especially, tons of playability. What was another good one that was really fun? That I really liked when I got it. Really good playability. I mean, Tidal Wave was amazing. I remember when I got Tidal Wave, I was just like, wow, this guy with the little seats that you could have for the mini cons. Like, there was a lot of really good ones. But again, the funny thing is, though, Armada was made to be toyetic. It was made to be having fun playing with your toys. Like, Armada was designed to be that. That it wasn't the replica style of like we're trying to match an animation model and just kind of do that. No, this was more like we're trying to have a toy that has gimmicks and fun and everything like that. And you could appreciate that sometimes. I rag on like, I like Cyberverse and how, man, like so many of those toys would have been great if they had like deluxe versions of them, but everything was gimmick based. Yeah, I agree with that. And I stand by that statement. And a lot of it was just gimmick based, but at the same time, you could appreciate it if they were high quality. The Armada stuff was very gimmick based, but it had a lot of paint, it had very high quality plastic. The Cyberverse stuff, it's like Typhoon Power Windblade, and it's just like it's a deluxe Windblade but it's not a deluxe Windblade. It's a warrior class. Doesn't have a lot of paint. Doesn't even come with a sword. Spinning gimmick. Maybe it doesn't even transform properly. Like there was so much less with those, but the Armada ones, a lot going on. A lot of fun. That's why people celebrate Armada so much still to this day. Ron Diaz, I saw Kingdom Black Arachnia for $3.99 at Ross. That's a great price. I would have paid that. That's a fantastic price for a mini masterpiece in a lot of ways. Mike Rosen, we need a van with Mr. T. Well, I'm pretty sure there's all kinds of toys like that out there, even modern ones. I must have missed something. Abraham, hi, G.I. Joe cartoon has Mr. C in one episode. Mr. C, I guess that was a parody of Mr. T. I must have missed that episode. And I always celebrate Sunbow's G.I. Joe. I guess there was a Mr. C one. Michael Koo, Mattel has released Hot Wheels kit cars, so with the Hot Wheels Mattel deal, maybe we'll see a TF kit. Maybe. Um, but Mattel doesn't have any ties with Playmobil, right? I'm pretty sure they don't, because Playmobil's European. So, because I know that there was a Playmobil's kit, which everyone says is really good, actually. Abraham Slingshot kind of stuck out. Maybe it didn't stick out to me. To me, the one that stuck out to me was Silverbolt, because he's afraid of heights, and Air Raid kind of had a cool design. That's kind of how I looked at it. Link CW, do you think Swindle and Detritus complete for business? Oh, compete for business. Excuse me. Reading it wrong there. Or do you think they work their difference in different departments? Because Detritus feels well, Detritus I felt has always been a junkie on character stuck on the planet of junk, where Swindle is across the universe. So that's kind of how I look at it. And this is me basing it off of his old e-hobby profile, not any new ones that have come to our attention recently. T-Formers 2002 Construction Cons at least had a bit of personality that could stand out a little. A little. A little. Not enough for them that you could write a whole episode around them or anything. I mean, you could really look at the bios and kind of break it down, but at the end of the day, like nothing that like stuck out. Like you remember specific characters. It's very rare that people remember individual combiner limbs unless there's something that really stuck out like a Swindle. Lizard Sphere X always like to think that some alternate take of the episode bot the broken part of Bruticus are fused into Turbo Master. That's true, Turbo Master. Well, that's also jumping ahead in a lot of ways because you're going into You're going into that like Action Master Elite era. I always felt that the Action Master Elites were part of it was we couldn't call it those characters because we don't want to because G1 was an era where you rarely use the same name of a character twice, although Action Masters did do that. But it was just kind of like they don't want to call it Omega Supreme, so we're going to call it Omega Supreme. We don't want to call it Scorponok, so we're going to call it Double Punch. We're not going to call it Whirl, so we're going to call it Windmail. We're not going to call it Bruticus, so we're going to call it Turbo Master. So it's like I almost feel like they were just doing that to just like avoid using those names. Also because it was a UK exclusive line, I think that also probably played into it a little bit, maybe. But yeah, Tucker says Armada was fun. It was very fun, very very fun. It was, and again, when Armada came out, how old was I? 2002. I was probably 20 at the time or 19. I was probably 19 when Armada came out. And I just remember get the first Armada figure I got Hot Shot. And I was like, man, like this figure does everything. It has tons of playability, comes with a comic book, comes with a sticker, a sticker trading card. Like here, let's go into the proto archives here. Let's go look at this one here. Where would it go? You know, all of those sticker cards. My goodness. Obviously, I'm missing some because some I would get in the secondary market cheap from BotCon, and they wouldn't have the sticker. Anyone have a Power Links Jetfire card? Anyone have a Megatron Armada card? I bought the Japanese one, unfortunately, so I don't have that one. And I think that's it. I was missing of those. Yeah, and then we get into Energon and beyond, but I think those are the only ones I'm missing. Ugh. But yeah, all from the archives. One day, guys, we're gonna go through the archives deep. We're gonna go through some cool stuff with a nice top-down camera. Still working on that. Got to buy another webcam for that one because I don't want to have to move all the equipment around everywhere like crazy. But yeah, Armada was great. T-Formers 2002, as someone who really loves the transformation features on Transformers more than just keeping them in one mode, Car Robots Devil Gigatron, very good one too, is amazing for me. Yeah, was it 12 different modes with the Devil Gigatron? 13 would probably make more sense. Elephant mode, hand mode, some modes that were just made up practically. Yep. Let's see what we got here. Orlando Chavez, I missed the high quality playability Transformers. Bring back spring fired missiles. Spring loaded missiles are long gone, unfortunately. Be nice if they bring them back, though. They try to avoid that. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's like they just don't want to have that kind of stuff. I almost feel like it's like a safety issue again. Like now kids are too weak for spring loaded missiles. I don't know. Black Crow Vengeance #1. So, in your honest opinion, what do you think about Rise of the Beast Stratosphere? Uh, Watered down version of Jetfire who didn't get enough screen time. I can't make an opinion on a character who had all of 5 lines and then was a movie prop for the rest of the movie. Maybe if we get a cool toy, I could give my opinion of the toy of him outside of obviously the Revenge of the Fallen one that's fragile today. Princess Phoenix 59. Any word on when HasLab Desaurus is shipping out? Actually, we're going to probably get an update for that at HasCon and what's happening with that too. So stay tuned for that one. Link CW, my first Armada toy was Starscream, also another good one with the lights and sounds and Swindle, which was a Formula One. It was enough for me to collect the whole line. Only figure I ended up missing was Skywarp, who has very difficult distribution and was the first use of the name Thunderclash in a very long time. Abraham, wow, seeing those cards makes me wonder what happened to mine. Yeah, well, they were see, the problem is they were very fragile because they were sticker cards. So they also got damaged a lot. Some kids were just tempted to stick them on things. And me, as a result, like I'd find the figures loose that I was missing, but I never found them with their cards. So that's all the sticker cards. So that's always like two pieces. Even like, there's probably tons of Armada Megatrons out there, but no one still has the sticker cards. And I'd love to like track one down one day just to kind of complete my set. Because I got my Armada Megatron, I bought the Japanese one, and then years later I bought the American one uh from like geez, when did I get that American one? I want to say it was like a TF con like in 2015 or something. So it is what it is. Tucker, he had 4 modes and the rest were yoga poses. Exactly. That's probably the best way to say it. An interpretation at best. Ron Diaz with the $7 super chat. Thank you, Ron Diaz, for the beautiful super chat. I like repaints and recolors and makes sense lore wise to have the same models and vehicles in different colors. And you have other models as well. Ron, that's funny actually. Let me get out my phone because I was watching Aaron Archer's live stream last night, and I made a note to myself. Where was it? Because he talked about that. He talked about, here we go, color waves of characters and making sense of it. Yeah, he had a very interesting topic about it. Probably when you guys are done here, you could check out his live stream. He talked about like the idea of, because I think the conversation came up where it was a yellow Optimus Prime from what do you call it, Transformers, and they were like, oh hey, they did like a yellow repaint of Optimus, and that's weird. Like why would you want to do a yellow Optimus? I think he was referring to the Robots in the Skies version, and then later on the Energon Armada repaint, and talking about like why would you do a yellow repaint? Why would you do a green repaint of the Transformers Prime version? And he was talking about how like that's the repaints that are successful are the ones that either are brand new characters or characters that have a story behind them. And I agree with that statement. Like, if you're going to have a black Optimus Prime, it's either an evil Optimus Prime, an evil clone, a brand new character, or some kind of power up, you know? If you're going to have just a blue Optimus or a green Optimus on the shelves and there's no story elements to it, I, like this guy here, he had the green repaint. I think it was in Beast Hunters he had the green repaint. Or when did they release that green repaint? I know it was in Transformers Prime, but they did a green repaint of this leader class, and I have an extra one here because I have one for sale. Um, and it had no story element to it. It wasn't like, why is it green? You know? So those are kind of the ones that fall short. Where like you look at the Seekers, all the colors of the rainbow, but they're all original characters. But if you took Starscream and made him yellow and you call it Starscream and you don't say it's Sunstorm, you don't say it's, whatever, and it's just a yellow Starscream, people are going to be like, well, that's stupid. There should be a story element to it. Is it powered up Starscream? Is it Golden Lagoon Starscream? You just couldn't afford gold chrome? Like there should be a story element to it. And that's always what makes a good repaint. Like if you're going to repaint this frog Transformer Springload in red, why not give it a new name? Call it Spitor. Call it, Gasher, from Car Robots. Call it whatever. If it's just a red repaint, it doesn't have that same validity. And Transformer fans, there's Cybertron Red Alert, and then if you did a black repaint of Cybertron Red Alert, you could try to create a story element. Oh, it's Stealth Cybertron Red Alert. But what made it more successful? Calling it Cannonball and making it a brand new character. And that's the good element of it. Making better sense of those repaint opportunities. And that was a good conversation that he had. And it was just, those are the more profound talking points when it comes to Transformers and when you do repaints and what do you do with them that doesn't make it like the dreaded Tuner Mudflap back in the day. Anyone remembers Tuner Mudflap? It literally had its own Tumblr account. It was such a plague back then. The two biggest plagues of all of Transformers was the Hive, which was too much Bumblebee on the shelf at once, and the Tuner Mudflap plague of 2009, 2010. Lizard Sphere X says, poor motor breath, forever a forgotten Optimus Prime repaint that mostly mistaken for Nemesis Prime. No, Motor Breath was Motor Master. It's just they couldn't get the trademark for Motor Master at the time because there was a Canadian chain called Motor Master. So they just went with Motor Breath, and that's that. And they just ran with that, plain and simple. Not a Nemesis repaint, just trying to be like, hey, we're gonna do a Motor Master, but we can't call it Motor Master, and it's a tiny version. That's pretty much it. Prince of Phalanx 59. Why hasn't Hasbro made a Sunstorm yet with all the repaints they have been doing with the jets? Because of trademarks. No need to do it yet when you could do it later. I'm pretty sure their logic is if we do it now, because the trademark hasn't expired yet. If they already did one in that 4-year span. If they do it now, then they might have nothing planned for later. So they're going to wait for 2024 or whenever it expires. I don't know what year it is. It might be 2025. And then they'll do it then, and then they're good. You know? Yeah, see, Tom knows what I'm talking about. Tom knows exactly what I'm talking about. But that's why, you know? Ron Diaz, speaking of repaints, what recent War for Cybertron molds need to be revisited? Well, number one, let's get one last shot of that Siege Earthrise Megatron and give it some blue and call it Metroplex. Metroplex. Megaplex. Just anger everyone there. I always felt like you could have taken your Shattered Glass Megatron, which already had like the Earthrise Siege kind of design with those extra pieces, and give it some blue accents, but still with the G1 look, and then do Machine Wars Megaplex. I love the Megaplex character. I'm always fascinated by it because it's a clone of Megatron that believes he's Megatron, that's higher ranked than Megatron, but he's actually like a fake that's used to be a decoy. Like there's so much different layers to his story, and it's always interesting. I always kind of wish like Machine Wars kind of got their own CG series that was parallel to Beast Wars back in the day in '97. Would have been really cool. Getting off topic. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of great molds that you could take stuff like let's go with the Trax mold. From War for no wait, that's not War for Cybertron. Yeah, it is War for Cybertron technically because it's part of Kingdom. You can take the Trax mold, do the black repaint, loud pedal. You could take who hasn't gone their obvious repaints yet. We didn't get all our GoBot repaints from all our mini bots. That's another one. Still waiting for Glyph and Tap Out to get their homages after all these years. That'd be a nice one too. But yeah, that's just some of them that I could say for sure. Prince and Phalanx 59, do you think Hasbro will repaint Studio Series 86 Grimlock into Delta Magnus? For sure. For sure. One or the other, either Shattered Glass or Delta. For sure. They're just going to give you time. They're just going to wait. That's all. They're going to wait a couple years and then they'll do it. But they'll do it for sure. What do you do with that otherwise? The yellow repaint? The P Magnus? E Hobby exclusive? What do you do with that Magnus mold? There's only so much you could repaint it into that would have any kind of weight that people would have wanted to pay for. So for sure that's a given. T-Formers 2002, as a Machine Wars fanboy, I'm a big fan of Megaplex. He needs more love. I agree. You should talk to Josh Burcham. He's also a huge Machine Wars fanboy. I remember Josh contacted me a while back when he was thinking about doing a Machine Wars book and where he felt it fit in the world and stuff. And he kind of got to do what he wanted to do with Fun Pub at one point. So good stuff. Giants bleed, so the Machine Wars cash trademarks could be used next time for Transmetals. Yep, that's kind of the plan. It's one of these things where you could go, oh, when are we getting when are we getting Transmetals? But it's more Hasbro going like, hey, when are we using Rhinox, Cheetor, and all these guys again? We could use them right away, but why don't we wait for these trademarks to expire? And then we could refresh the trademarks and then use all these beast characters again. So It's all it's the sad reality of how this is done. If Fortress Maximus this week did not teach you guys anything about why we pick characters and when they're picked, then I don't know what to tell you at that point. Michael Koo with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Michael Koo. Why hasn't Hasbro done a Shatterglass repaint of the War for Cybertron Earthrise Skylinks? Well, Shatterglass Skylinks has a very unique design that's very different from how he looks. So they'd have to like do a brand new head sculpt of his head, which I would dig if they did that. That'd be really cool. But I think that it's between doing a brand new tooling for the head, it being a commander class, and it not, I don't think he sold very well either because that was right in the middle of the big V. That I think that, I don't know. I think out of all the commander classes, that's the one I would imagine they'd revisit last if they had to do a repaint. And it's no offense to Skylinks. I think that's a fantastic toy. I think it's a great figure. Even the Combiner Wars one was really good. I love Skylinks as a character. Always thought he was really cool, but I think he's probably the weakest of all the commanders when it comes to what do you do with that afterwards. It's definitely they probably realized after doing that they went, "Ooh, we probably got to be careful with who we make a commander class in the future because of potential stuff you could do with it." I mean, again, I agree with you. Shattered Glass would be really cool, but you got to do that new head sculpt because remember he had a different head. He had a very different head in his Dino mode, I think we'll call it. Lizard Specs, what do you think of a green Optimus repaint that would be like a character? Well, yeah, of course. If they make a character, if they do a green Optimus, right? And I'm not talking like Sakamoto with the different color spectrum Optimuses and everything like that. I mean, let's say it was like a brand new unique character, like it was like Jungle Convoy, and he was this Optimus that was like Rambo and used guerrilla tactics for war. Then totally cool because now what you did is, like I said with Red Alert, you took something that could have been just a black repaint, and now you put this layer of character on it. Oh, he's a pirate now, and all of this, and so people dig that. So it's kind of the same thing where if you add that extra layer to it of story, all of a sudden a repaint means more. I always use the example that of me personally was in the Cybertron line. You probably won't even be able to see it, but oh, you could barely see him. So there was a character called, if you could see Undermine. Oh, you could barely see Undermine. Undermine is right there. Undermine was this like green dino. He was called Dino Snout in Galaxy Force. He was this green dino transformer. And then they did a good guy version called Repugnus, which was a red, black, and orange version. And if you read his bio, if you read Repugnus's bio on it, he wasn't just a red repaint faction swap of Undermine. He was the equivalency of the Autobot leader of Animatros, aka the Beast Planet in Cybertron Galaxy Force, because Scourge was like the ruler and everything, and he had this like secret army that was going to overthrow him on an Autobot side in the swamps and everything. So there's like, oh wow, this one little Autobot repaint figure is like this heavy ranked character in story in this one little blurb of bio written on the back of his card back. And stuff like that is like story writing 101 for toys. And I remember reading that bio because I would buy these toys and I'd read the back of the bio because I want to know these characters. And I loved Cybertron Repugnus for that because it created a character out of what could have easily just been a red repaint of a Decepticon basic class figure. I think it was called basic at the time, basic scale, regular class, regular scale. But yeah, good example. Great example. Abraham with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Abraham. Hey, Proto. Do you know if Scorponok was ever repainted, remolded as red as part of the Golden Brave Goldtran line? So what he's referring to is Scorponok being repainted and used in the animation of Goldtran. So the thing with Goldtran is 99.9% of that toy line was all chrome. That was kind of their thing. You look at all the other Brave stuff that was happening before and after. I think Jay Decker came after Goldran, or before. Was it before? I know that. Yeah, I think it was before. But everything was always chrome. And I think that they probably looked at that Scorponok mold, which you can't see off screen, but they probably looked at that Scorponok mold, and that's a lot of chrome. That's a lot of chrome to put on that mold. Um, they never did it. They probably wanted to, they just didn't. They probably just went, yeah, that's a lot. We're not going to do that. So I think that's the logic. Uh, but yeah, I hope that answers that. Would have been cool. I think they did. I know. I think a third party did an homage to it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like a smaller third party company did a Scorponok, and then they did a different color waves, and I think they did the red one for Goldran. I could be wrong. I don't know. I just have like a vague memory of it from like TFCon 2015 or TFCon 2016 USA. I don't know why I have that memory. Ashnud, I got my Skylinks on clearance for $30. I would have paid that. I would have paid that in a heartbeat. Ron Diaz, I want detritus. Will be great for my toy Merc team. I love DevCon. DevCon's a much needed addition to any Transformer collector's collection. But yeah, definitely. I love my unaligned characters. Yeah, well, that's what's always makes things cool when you have like a third faction. That's what I loved about mini cons. Like if you look at my Armada display, it's like you have like Autobots, you got Decepticons, and right in the middle, you have a sea of mini cons and Unicron above them all. Like that's literally how my Armada display is. I wish I could kind of show it better. It's hard to see. All my Decepticons, all my Autobots, and then the sea of mini cons with Unicron above them all, just chilling in planet mode. It's kind of hard to see with the shot here in the angle, but yeah. Um, no, I love having like an extra faction. I dig that. Princess Falcon 9, what's for dinner, Proto? I actually am making homemade chicken sandwiches, but not in a McDonald's kind of way where it's deep fried. Chicken breast, whole wheat baguette. That's that. Maybe some kind of sauce, maybe a sweet and sour sauce from V8. We will see. That's what I'm kind of aiming to do. Maybe so, and then afterwards, I might as well talk about this now since I got the opportunity. Um, Nintendo dropped recently on the Nintendo Switch F-Zero 99, and I'm a big F-Zero guy, and I am so hyped about it. I've been playing it like crazy since it come out, and it's free. Of course, if you have to have the Nintendo online uh, membership, but free. They could have easily charged $10 for that, but they didn't. So kudos to you, Nintendo, for giving a new F-Zero game that's community based and has tons of customability. Love it. Love it. Super cool. A lot of cool stuff was announced too. Still hyped about the Mario RPG, even though they might strip it down a little bit. The new Tomb Raider remaster is really cool. What else was cool? The Peach game. I'm interested. I want to see how it is. It looks a little simple, but when they did Super Princess Peach, I dug that. So I hope this one's just as good. It looks like it's a bunch of different game modes. Like one's a beat 'em up, one's like a Detective Pikachu kind of thing. Speaking of which, new Detective Pikachu, pretty cool, but it uses the same plot as the Detective Pikachu movie, so that's kind of weird. Not very original. What else was good that was there? There was a few RPGs that they mentioned. Mario the Thousand Doors. I'm not super excited about that one because I own the original on GameCube. I really like it. I love the Paper Mario series, but I mean it's pretty much the same game, just with like a slight HD lens put over it. So yeah, yeah. Where we at? Where we at? They made a Death Gary gun. Yes, they did. I have that one. I have Death Gary gun. I think I have like every version of Sky Gary. Like I have every bootleg, every repaint, every version of him. I don't know how it happened. It like happened accidentally. Like I owned the original. Like my first time I ever got Sky Gary was I got a bootleg. Way back in the day, got this really crazy bootleg. It came on a Brave card back, but it was clearly Sky Gary with this like bootleg Autobot logo on the chest. And then I got a mini Sky Gary bootleg. And then I got another mini Sky Gary bootleg, but with chrome on him. And then years later, Azusa got like a dead case of a whole bunch of Sky Garys from G1. So I bought one of those for like 150 bucks, brand new. And then shout out to Toy Hell and David. I bought Death Gary gun from him. I actually did it in a trade. I traded some like Bakon stuff for like one, and it was like Bakon stuff that no one cares about, you know? So I like Death Gary gun. Cool design. I remember also Derek Wyatt buying one at TFCon one year from the parts party. Great stuff. Great stuff. Where are we at? Mike Rosen. If I miss anything, let me know, guys. Mike Rosen. Could they repaint detritus into a non-combining swim? They could do whatever they want. You know, if they want to take, if they want to take some Jeep character and give it a new head sculpt and call it detritus, they could get away with it. I've seen, how many times have a tank been turned into bludgeon when it wasn't a bludgeon mold? You know, it's been done a lot of times. There was a movie bludgeon that was not a bludgeon mold. There was RID bludgeon that wasn't a bludgeon mold. Prince of Phalanx 59, air fry chicken patty. You know what the thing is with air fryers? They're glorified ovens. That's what I like. They're glorified toaster ovens. It cooks it quickly. It is healthier. Air frying is healthier, but they're glorified. And I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying like when I compare them to what they are, they're just a toaster oven that's a little stronger. That's all it is, really. The whole air fryer hype over the past couple of years. Giants Bleed, do you think we will see Kingdom Dinobot retooled in the Beast Wars Neo Hardhead? I think yes, just because they just got to milk that mold. Like we got Grimlock, we got Toy Colors, we got the premium Beast Wars again. So we're probably going to get one more, and we'll probably get Hardhead at some point. I think a lot of the Neo guys, because a lot of them did kind of have DNA from Beast Wars stuff, will happen at some point. I mean, I'm still surprised that we got that standalone Skywarp that came with the Battle Across Time 2-pack with Sideswipe. I'm still surprised we got that. Like I knew they had to do something with that Air Razor mold, but I'm surprised that they went with that. I'm really surprised. Uh where are we at? But yeah, good stuff. Aaron actually mentioned another thing too in his live stream also, but it was actually he mentioned something and then it was an idea for it became an idea for a photo shoot that I'm going to do for my Instagram. So stay tuned for that one. Stay tuned, stay true for that one. Tucker says 100% true on the fryers. Well, again, and they're fine. If you don't have a toaster oven and you don't have like an electrical oven, like you have a gas stove, let's say, electrical fryer is a great addition to your house. Doesn't take a lot of electricity. It's a healthy way to eat. But if you already have a toaster oven or if you already have a really good electrical stove, I always say you should have a gas stove over electrical for cooking, but I'm not going to go into the weeds of that. But if you have like a toaster oven, I mean, it's to spend 80 or 100 bucks, unless you're getting for like really cheap, but they're okay. They're okay. I got to mess with one and I'm like, oh, I see how it works. It's just kind of the same thing. It is a healthier alternative though, which is always good. Got to eat healthy. T-Formers 2002 with the YouTube member question. Thank you, T-Formers 2002. Neo Hardhead would help with the G1 trademark use. That is true too. That is very smart statement there, T-Formers 2002. That would be a hardhead use for the headmasters. That would be a good one. You are Trey correct. And then, of course, Giants Bleed says Hardhead had a trademark reissue, so it's probably Well, that was the whole point. Like, look, we had all those G1 reissues, and then right in the middle of it, we had remember those Headmaster G1 reissues, but they were based off the Titan Return molds. Why do you think that happened? That was just them going like, "Uh-oh, all those Titan Return trademarks are going to expire. Quick, we got to do something." Why do you think? Of course, but that is a smart move, though. So that means at some point when that's going to come up, it's a possibility. The question is what, like, highbrow, what do you do with that? Do you do uh, the best highbrow toy ever made, which is this boy right here? Do you somehow reinvent that character? I always have him nearby because that's one of the greatest movie toys ever made that isn't based off of a movie character. You do that highbrow. What do you do? Let's see. We got that'll be our highbrow. Chrome Dome. I guess you could just revisit the character, maybe do the IDW version, I guess. What's another one? And then of course you got Brainstorm. Brainstorm. I don't know. I guess you're gonna have to revisit Brainstorm, and just do something individually. I do not know on that. But yeah, but yeah. Erica Wayne, I just want to just address her question because I get this one a lot though. I used to do figure reviews back in the day. I had a separate channel called Proto Retro. You could go check that out. Type Proto Retro Proto Man. It's an old channel. I used to do toy reviews back in the day. I I realized doing toy reviews that I don't really like doing toy reviews. I like talking about the history of characters. Like to me, I'm not a big fan of toy reviews to begin with, personally. Me, like I'm one of these guys that it's just like if I'm going to experience a figure for the first time ever, I want to experience it. I don't want to see someone else playing with it. It's going to be me. It's a puzzle. Seeing someone else mess with that puzzle is a spoiler to me in a lot of ways. The only time I'd ever watch a toy review is if somehow I'm messing with a figure that historically through the grapevine has been fragile, then I kind of want to watch someone else transform it. And that's where I give a shout out to Mgo. Never met Mgo. Would love to meet him one day just to give him a shout out and go, bro, love what you do. Because when I heard that Tigatron from Beast Wars, the masterpiece, had like scratching issues and fragility issues, I was like, I got to see someone transform this beforehand, and he did a great video. I don't watch his reviews. I just watched his transformation stuff, and I really appreciate that. That's some good stuff, and keep up the great work, man. That is some valuable stuff out there. Transformation videos important. Reviews, not so much. Don't really care about that. I used to do them myself, but then I look back at what I used to do and I'm like, no, you just wanted to talk about the history. I used to like I have Rescue Bot reviews that have millions of views. And you would say like, Proto, why would you stop doing a channel that had millions of views on it? Because I started realizing I liked more just talking about the history of those toys more than reviewing the toys. You know, that's kind of how it was with me. Oh man, we only have 13 minutes left. Geez, we've been flying today. We've been killing it. Well, that's why, see, T-Formers 2002. It's funny because M goes MT is bro, but that's why, because I heard about that. That was because here's like masterpieces. The Beast Wars ones are my favorite ones ever. They're just amazing. They're just so cool. And when Tigatron was the first one that I heard, oh, there's problems. Like there was I think Lio Convoy had problems. Uh Black Panther, not Black Panther, Shadow Panther, Black Panther. Shadow Panther had fragility issues with the yellow plastic. Who else had broken problems? There was someone else too. Oh, Hound. Hound was the other one. Hound had, oh my God. Hound, like when I got Hound, I was like terrified to transform it after what everyone was saying online. Like, geez, it was crazy. It was crazy. Uh, and there's so many people, yeah, what I do is I give information that a toy review can't give. The truth is, anyone could review this. You could review this. Go review this. Go review Spitor right now. Go review, not Spitor, Diver, excuse me, Japanese version. Anyone could review toys. So this is Spitor. He's based off of his Beast Wars second character. He has a spring-loaded gimmick. He came with Niagara Base back in 1997. Was a repaint from the Spitor character based off of the third wave of Beast Wars toys that came out in 1997. Like I could do that. But then it's like, you know, not my bag, not my bag. Like what's going to happen is when I'm going to have the new setup for like some of our future live stream segments where we're going to like go through books and stuff, and we'll have an overview shot where we could go through the books properly. Once in a while I'll do an unboxing. Like I'll do something where it's like, "Oh, hey, I got this new Greymon figure." Oh, this is something that Here's a Proto Man deal. Dollar Tree and Dollarama in Canada right now have these these Digimon figures. I'm actually looking for Metal War Greymon, but that's a whole other story. Metal Garurumon, but that's another story. Anyways, going off topic. But like I'll do like maybe an unboxing of something once in a while. Or if it's like a blind pack thing. If I have like some blind pack items, like blind pack Tiny Titans or something, that'd be cool to open up live because we'd be able to enjoy it all together. That's more of like a user experience more than content just to like it's something where I want to open it and I want to see your reactions, not just mine. Where when you make a YouTube review, it's really one-sided. You put it out there and then you kind of sit back. So it is what it is. That's kind of how I see it. But yeah. Retrek Union collectors. I split my videos into review and transformation guide. Some people want to see transformation, some don't. I believe that's what MGO does too. If I remember correctly, he'll do a full review, which I again no offense to what he does. I'm sure what he does is great. Dollarama is a Canadian chain for people who are confused. Dollar Tree, Family Dollar in the States, Dollarama here in Canada. Um, but yeah, the point is that like I'm sure what he does is great, but it's not my jam personally. But the transformation stuff he does is fantastic. Keep that up, brother. You do it back and forth. That is so useful to people. That's a valuable resource, especially when you're talking like, when you're talking like really expensive and fragile stuff. To have a resource for that for people that is very valuable. You know, uh, yeah. One day I'll meet him and I'll shake his hand. Tell him he does good work. Uh, Giants Bleed. Hey Proto, how do trademarks work on combiner box sets? For example, like Predaking, does each character get a trademark used or just Predaking? So how it works essentially with licensing and trademarks. Let me find a good example. Okay, so this is a terrible example because that doesn't have trademarks on it. One sec. See, I hate Cyberverse because they're just the worst when it comes to that. Oh my god, what would have been a really good example that I could pull up that's box that's nearby. So, anyways, let me try to I have to gotta think of some stuff here. What do we got here? This is one good example also. One good way to get a whole bunch of trademarks, get a third party company that license your product and then put a whole bunch of your characters out. Not the best example, but an example nonetheless. So, how it works essentially when with combiners, when Hasbro wanted to work on Combiner Wars, and you're talking a lead time of what do you call it? Of like at least a year with John Warden when he was doing the Combiner War stuff. So he's like, hey, we're going to be doing combiners. We're going to be doing combiners a year from now. We need to get all those trademarks back. They had the Creo line. How do we get those trademarks back without having to, super invest right away? So they did the Creo combiners and they covered everything. Each Creo combiner on the box, it had the individual robot, and then it says, and it combines to make the larger robot. So how it works with combined elements is if you sell on the package that the characters combine to make some kind of giant play value item that is part of the product, you could do that. That's where Predaking comes in. Granted, we've had Predaking used in other places like Transformers Prime. There was okay, you could barely see it because the microphone is in the way, but yeah, there's Predaking, the little titanium figure, because they had to have Predaking because they were going to lose it. So here's titaniums. There's a lot of those really small lines that kind of existed to kind of just throw a trademark on. Creo, Tiny Titans, Tiny Turbo Changers, Bot Shots, Titaniums, um, robot heroes. There's a lot of those. So sometimes they're like, hey, We need to use this trademark, but we have nothing. They find a way. They always find a way. They find a way. Uh, just transform it videos. You're referring to MGO's JTI. Okay, I didn't know that there was a name for it. I would just be like, "Oh, I heard that this thing was fragile," and then I would just look for a video, and his would always come up, and they were always very good. So I was like, "Okay, good stuff. Good stuff." I'm not a fan of the skits. I'm just gonna say that right. I'm not a big fan of skits. I like getting down to business. Prince of Alex 59, pizza bagels and burritos. I don't know what that is, but that sounds good. I love me some pizza bagels and burritos. Not the healthiest stuff. Actually, kosher pizza bagels are amazing. If you could find a kosher bakery that has pizza bagels, oh man, you are in heaven. They're not easy to find, but if you have a kosher bakery somewhere in your area, oh my goodness. You buy those, put them in your microwave for like 35 seconds or something. Good stuff. Fantastic stuff. Love it. Love it. Absolutely love it. We got 4 minutes left for life. 4 minutes left. Let's get some super chats in before we are done for the night. Try to get some more super chats in. Might as well show at the end some basketball stuff that I got. Um, so once in a while, I check out AliExpress, and AliExpress will have some tchotchkes, little keychains or cheap little stuff. And so they have an entire basketball collection right now. So I've been collecting all of these. They've slowly been coming. All the '90s and '80s NBA guys. So you got Scottie Pippen, you got Rodman, you got Carter, Toronto Raptors. You got Shaquille O'Neal. I love the Shaq one here. I have also Jordan coming, Larry Bird. Who else am I missing? Kobe. Kobe's coming. Just gonna hang those up. Gonna hang those up in the manga room upstairs. Got a whole bunch of those coming. Those are like $1.50 each. They're so cool. I'm tempted to get an extra one of Larry Bird, maybe have it as a keychain. But they're so cool. So I got those in the mail too, but that's probably not everyone's speed. Whenever I talk sports, sometimes I lose people. I'm gonna try to avoid that. We got a $2 super chat from John Deckard. Thank you, John Deckard. Bringing it back to the Transformers. Armada Minicons used quite a few trademarks. So Aaron, like when he was doing that back in the day, it was a different kind of world. Like he was bringing forward those trademarks, but he wasn't applying them in places that he felt like matched the characters. It was just like you had a character named Wheeljack that clearly wasn't Wheeljack. You had a minicon named Cliff Jumper that was clearly not Cliff Jumper. You had a combiner combiner minicon named Perceptor. Like they were just bringing those in there. Oh, Mikey and Louie are here. Oh, they just showed up now. Mikey and Louie, we're done in like a couple minutes. Hope everything's good with the packing you guys are doing today. They're going to be moving soon. They're doing the nightmare of having to pack all this up but for themselves. I could only imagine. But yeah. So it's something where like, yeah, there was a lot of, but again, that's what Robots in Disguise had to do. They were rebuilding. When you were leaving the Beast Wars era, Machine Wars did it a little bit too. Machine Wars existed for one reason and one reason only. Oh my God, we haven't used Optimus Prime and Soundwave and Starscream. Oh my God, we're going to lose those. So they had to use Optimus Prime, Soundwave, and Starscream because in 1995 there was Optimus Primal. In 1996 there was Optimus Primal, and they're like, "Oh my God, are we stupid? We're going to lose Optimus Prime, Starscream, and Soundwave." So they did that, and it saved them. 1997, 98, 99, 2000. Car robots, robots in the skies. Everyone's back, Jack. And of course they also did the reissues around that time too, the commemorative series. So you got to save a couple G1 stuff there by reissuing those toys. Magic. It's beautiful magic. Patricia. I knew someone named Patricia Brown. Patrick Brown. Opinion on the next mainline combiner, defensor, maybe. I'm thinking, personally, just my take, aerial bots. I don't want it to be aerial bots, but I think it's going to be the aerial bots. Mikey and Louie popping in just to say hi to our fellow Transformer fans. Well, thank you, Mikey and Louie, for coming in, but super busy. Gotta go till all are one. Well, there you go. They are super busy. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you, Mikey and Louie. Transforming our house into a giant Unicron-sized box. Yeah, I don't blame you. I had to move once, and it was madness. I actually did a whole segment about Transformer collecting and moving because it was such a crazy thing. Prince and Phalanx 59 Proto, if Hasbro makes a Studio Series 86 Megatron, what would his alt mode be? It is a tank. And I don't think they'll do a Studio Series 86 Megatron. I really don't. I think they will do anything but. I think that what we got with Earthrise is like if you want your best generations Megatron for your shelf right now, it's Earthrise Megatron. Earthrise Megatron is about as close as you're going to get. Studio Series 86 Megatron not being a gun defeats the purpose of Studio Series. You know what I mean? So unless they could somehow pull it off and he's a gun, it defeats the purpose of Studio Series is let's make the best in scale possible with the engineering we have at the time of these characters. We're going to do even better than Masterpiece. We're going to somehow make it even better than what we've done with Masterpiece and Shogo Hasui and Kobayashi-san and all of those guys who work on Masterpiece. We're going to somehow make it even better, you know? And then if they do Studio Series 86 Megatron, it would defeat that purpose. Sadly, I would expect a third-party company to step up and make something in scale more than Hasbro doing something. So it's just and again, stuff like Lizard Sphere X, Submarine Megatron. If they secretly put a gun mode in there, they are going to get sued. And they have licenses and investors and Walter P38, that's a real licensed gun owned by a real licensed German company. They'll get sued. You can't do that. You can't. It's too sketchy. Too sketchy. During Aaron Archer's era, when they did the little Megatron that was like a handheld gun with the orange tip, and they said they were able to do that because guns weren't that small enough to exist. And guess what happened? Then they made guns that were small enough that functioned that existed. So even that got thrown out the window. Way too sketchy. Look what they did with bots, where they had a little bot that's this small that transforms into a gun, and even then, it still had a little energon blast at the end of it. Like it's such a sketchy place to do that. Studio Series 86 Megatron, he converts into Galvatron. That was actually a toy that was supposed to happen. I'm not going to go get the book now. There was an old concept where they were going to have a Megatron toy from G1 that actually transforms into Galvatron. It was all one toy in one. Never happened in the end. But yeah, that's it more or less. We are at our 2-hour mark. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for all the love and support. Again, if you want to continue supporting the podcast and you enjoy what we do and the entertainment that we give you guys, I have a Patreon link down there below. You can come join the Patreon and get all the benefits and extras that Patreon gives you, like the Discord with the deals and the community that we built there with Discord, the exclusives that we have there and everything. If Patreon and Discord and all that is not your thing, we have the YouTube member button, that join button that you see down there. That's our beautiful green names that we have on the side that have been throwing questions at me this whole evening. So if you want to be part of that, or like some people say, they like to double dip. They like to have both this and the Patreon. Some people double dip and they love it. I know quite a few that love that. Oh, Aaron was here all this time. Jeez, I didn't even realize it, Aaron. I was conjuring you by doing all that Armada talk, I guess. But again, if you like what I do, check out Patreon. It's down there. Check out the YouTube membership if that's your jam. Again, thank you to my sponsors, Symbiote Studios, Hasbro, and Deceits for all the sponsorship and keeping the lights on too outside of our patrons and our YouTube members. Because let me tell you something about YouTube. They are going to be screwing us in November for anyone that knows. We are going to be making no money starting November. It is going to be fun looking at all of that money disappear. So YouTube, so Patreon and YouTube membership is gonna be even more valuable come November. They're gonna be messing with all our algorithms and how we're gonna be able to put any kind of, money-making ways. But we'll cover that in the future when that time comes. Anyways, guys, take care. Love y'all. As I always say, and I have to always end it like this because it's important to say, take care of yourself, take care of your family. It's a beautiful world out there. Don't let social media and all the negativity of the world hold you down. You leave your front door and you realize that the world is a much greater place than it really is. And there's too many cool stuff. There's too many cool stuff in this world to be down on the down when there's too much up to be up about. I'm out of here. Take care. This is Proto Man. This is the Transformer Slag Podcast Internet live stream. I love you all. Peace.